Hey guys, so I wanted to be able to provide you with some quick tools that you can use at home. And today we're going to be talking about having a sexual conversation. I think this is important because I see a lot of clients in my office who come in wanting to work on some kind of sexual difficulty. And one of the first questions I ask is, how do you guys talk about this at home? And a general or a typical response might be, or that I've seen, is we don't talk about it. So what I have found is that sometimes whenever I send them home with a conversation starter around sex, that is really what can be helpful, and then they don't need to come back into therapy, which is awesome. But what I find as well is that many people don't know how to talk about sex with their partner because they weren't modeled how to talk about sex with their partner. They weren't modeled how to talk about sex in general from their parents or from friends. And what we know in the office is that many people get their sexual knowledge and conversation from porn. And so if we only know something that's more performance-based and Hollywood type sexual interaction, it's going to be difficult to know how to transition that into something that might be intimacy or an intimate conversation with our partners. What I like to do is have the couple ask some what I might call basic questions. What's important is to say, it's uncomfortable to talk about sex, right? With our partners, typically, for a lot of people, that's what I find. So to say, hey, I'm very uncomfortable right now. I know you're my intimate partner. I know that this is important to talk about, but that doesn't make it any less uncomfortable for me. So I just want to put that out there. Having that initial piece, I think, can be really helpful in terms of just laying it out. This is not exciting for me, but I think it's going to be beneficial for our relationship as well. And I think it could do a lot of really fun things for us. Going on a date and talking about this, let's only talk about the sexual conversation or making a dinner together while we talk about it. But I think it's good to be able to sit across from each other and have like an intimate bonding experience where you're looking at each other and engaging in these questions. So here's some questions. Because a lot of people are saying, I want to have this conversation, I just don't know where to start. I don't even know what kind of questions to ask. So what I have my couples or individual even ask themselves is, what do I like about sex? What in the past has been really good for me? What are those things? How can I lay that out and say, these are the things that I really like about sexual interactions. This is what my favorite things are about sex. What has been my favorite sexual experience with you? What has been my favorite sexual experience in general? How can I tell you what that is and tell you specifically why that might be my favorite sexual interaction from our experience? What things do I do on my own that I would love to start incorporating together? Some self-stimulation stuff that I know works for me and I think is really fun and playful that I also want to teach you how to do in our interaction together. What do I fear about sex? So some people come with some things that are difficult from our past, that when we're together sexually, there's a fear, there's something that holds me back sexually because of those things, or I don't want to hurt your feelings, and so I'm not telling you certain things because I fear how you might react to that. How can I start to tell you those things? That's a very intimate conversation to have. What do I fantasize about? What are those things that during the day, these are the things that I think about you, and that has my arousal system increasing throughout the day. How can I tell you what those things are, and how can we start to interact with that play, that fantasy play? Initiation, what do I like about our initiation that we do? What do I want to be different? So a common concern that I'll hear is, my partner comes up to me and says, hey, do you want to have sex? And that doesn't really work for me. I need, or I want to be seduced. I want this elongation of foreplay. How can you tell your partner what that looks like? Maybe it's starting to do some flirtatious texting in the morning, and then you do a playfulness throughout the day, and your sexual response system is heightened whenever you guys get home. Or maybe it's, I just want you to come up and embrace me. I want to feel wanted by you. How can you let your partner know what that is? How can you let them know, this doesn't really work for me? moving forward, I would like something different. And what is that something different? Being able to talk about what's not working can be really helpful, because what I also find is sometimes when we're able to verbalize that to our partner, we can find out that our partner also doesn't like it, yet we continue to do it because we think the other person wants it. So being able to filter through the details, I think, can be incredibly helpful, but also remaining curious. So if your partner says, hey, I want to incorporate this into the bedroom, I've been interested in this, and you're like, whoa, I'm not sure. Remain curious, like, what is it about that that interests you? Where did that come from? How long have you been interested in that? Try and remain curious for your partner so that you can find out more information. But also asking questions. What are those things? What do you want to incorporate into our sexual interactions that we haven't been doing that you've been interested in? Or what kind of play do you want to do? Do you sometimes want to just be intimate and not engage in intercourse, let's say? What things do you want to continue doing that we do that you really enjoy? What things do you want to stop doing? What things are difficult for you, and how can we talk through that? So really trying to get through some of those details as well, I think, can be helpful, because the more details you have, the better you're able to understand what your partner is needing and wanting from you, right? So for instance, I think this conversation needs to be ongoing. So if I was interested in painting, let's say, in college, and that was a passion of mine, now 10 years later, my passion or my interest are more towards doing triathlons. And though I really like art, I really like focusing on this athletic piece now. The same things happen to our bodies. Our bodies change, and that's why frequent conversations are good around this. You know, our last session, I really liked that rough touch. My body, or let's say the clitoris, has different sensations every session. So during that time, that rough touch actually worked for me, but today that doesn't. So being able to have that conversation even in the moment is really important, to be able to discuss, like, yes, I like that, no, I don't. I know that worked this time, but not this time. How can we debrief afterwards? Maybe not like right afterwards, but that night or later that day or the next day, and say, hey, do this again. I really like that. I don't know what you did, but continue doing that in the future. Or I didn't feel like there was something missing here. Let's like talk through that. What was going on? Were you there today? Or it just felt like you weren't present, and I just want to know what's going on for you. Talk about it. It's really good to talk about it. I find that this brings couples closer, and being able to get this stuff on the table does wonders for a relationship, and individually just asking yourself these questions. How can I understand my body and what I like and don't like, and why do I not like these things, or why do I like these things, and how can I communicate that maybe later down the road to my partner? So I hope this is a good challenge for you. I find it incredibly beneficial to the people that I see, and that the clinicians in my practice, they also agree that this is probably one of the #1 pieces that we wish a general audience knew. So let me know if you have any questions or are interested in more questions that you could talk to your partner about, and I will provide those to you. All right, thanks for watching.